Hey everyone, you're
You're
listening
listening
to
to
the
the
100th
100th
episode
episode
of
of
the
the
Everything's
Everything's
Messy
Messy
podcast.
podcast.
Woo!
Hey, welcome to Everything's Messy podcast, where we celebrate the beautiful but messy life experiences that most, if not all, people go through. Get ready to embark on an exciting journey through the raw and unfiltered stories of everyday people. Here, we dive into messy realities of life, from making messy mistakes to triumphs and everything in between. Are you sensing a theme? That's right, it's messy. But this just isn't about the mess. It's about finding strength and resilience in the midst of it all. We'll explore how health, fitness, and wellness play a crucial role in navigating life's twists and very messy turns. And we'll challenge conventional systems, because sometimes the most unconventional paths lead to the greatest discoveries. Join us as we embrace the messy, beautiful, and endlessly fascinating stories. Each episode is a testament to the power of our messy journeys and the beauty that emerges from the mess. So grab your favorite beverage, coffee, sparkling water, whatever it may be, and prepare to be inspired. Are you ready? Let's get messy.
You are listening to the 100th episode of the Everything's Messy podcast.
Greetings, Papa Six here. Just wanted to shout out to Sarah for her outstanding job on her podcast, Everything's Messy. She's coming up on her 100th episode. So, Sarah, congratulations and keep hammering.
Hey, messy people. Welcome to the 100th episode of Everything's Messy podcast. I am so excited to be celebrating my 100th episode. And this goes along the lines of what we talk about all the time, continuing to show up for yourself. That is how you can celebrate these monumental milestones. You know, even the first one is celebration, the second one, and you keep going and you keep showing up for yourself. That is what it's about. And I show up not only for me, but for you guys, hoping that I can bring you a different side of the conventional medicine, of wellness, of all things messy, and continuing to support you in your journey and finding your strength through the mess. So today we have a mashup of people talking about how it's the 100th episode, and then also a few of my favorite episodes, some highlights. I'm just so excited to be able to celebrate this with you. Here's to another 100 episodes. Keep it messy.
You are listening to the 100th episode of the Everything's Messy podcast.
If you haven't listened to episode 76 before, I encourage you to go back and listen to it. This is where Mary Beth and I get into some very messy stuff. Here we're talking about why we shouldn't eat vegetables. I know, controversial. Enjoy.
Hey messy people, you're listening to the 100th episode of Everything's Messy podcast.
Up next, episode 65 with Charissa. Great mindset episode. If you're struggling with that, go back and listen to episode 65. Enjoy.
Yeah. Well, and there's something so incredible about realizing that maybe you're being outcome-based, right? When we're outcome-based, whether it's a number on the scale or a number of reps or where you think you should be in life at this point, that limits you. Because that's a view from a mindset that maybe doesn't fit with where you are anymore. So if you're based on an outcome, it's going to be limited by that version of you. Whereas if you just show up, you do the work, and you fully put your intention in it, you're mindful, your effort is as much as you have that day, because that's going to win. But just if you give everything you have in that moment, then the outcomes always take care of themselves, and they're always more grand than you think than you ever had planned for yourself, because you're not limited by what you can conjure at that moment. And the fact, when you don't get your way and you're not getting an outcome, it actually is, you're getting what you need. You needed that emotional release when you were in the gym that day, and you maybe hadn't made space to do it earlier. So your body's like, hey, guess what? This has to happen. You're going to feel better after this. So we're going to make it right now. But it wasn't the outcome that you wanted. How much growth came from that, though?
Lots of growth, lots of healing, and realizing that I needed to give myself some grace from, I was showing, I'm still showing up, but it was really hard, especially at the beginning, to look around and see where everybody else was at. And I know we're not supposed to compare, but I was mad at myself that I hadn't been doing it earlier. And so then looking where everyone else, and that didn't happen overnight. They had all been doing it for 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And here I am, 45 days in, and it was just I'm not where I want. But it was that plus meeting, grace for, hey, it's a process, and it's a long process, and you need to just sit in it, and it's going to be okay. But yeah, I never said, man, I wish I wouldn't have gone today.
No, and it's that power of yet. It's okay that you're not happy where you are. You're just not there yet. And it's always focusing inward on the competition of you today versus you yesterday. Because everybody's on their own little journey.
Absolutely.
Everybody, stage 1, stage 8, stage 25, above or below. And it's just finding that, okay, am I 1% better than I was yesterday?
This is Elizabeth Bruckner, and you are listening to the 100th episode of the Everything's Messy podcast. Let's keep it messy. Here's my messy tidbit for you. As a recovering perfectionist, doing things messy is my battle cry. After all, badly done is always better than well said. Okay, dear one, I just wanted to leave a little personal message, Sarah, to wish you a fabulous 100th episode. Congratulations on getting this far. You are a fantastic podcaster, and I cannot wait to see what you will do next. Next up, I'm sitting down with Erika Herman, episode 79. Wow, we go deep in this one. Anywhere from mold to vitamin D, and the levels that they're testing aren't necessarily what they should be using as markers for your vitamin D levels. So if you haven't listened to episode number 79, go back and do that. Enjoy.
Actual that I created. It's called Holes in Modern Healthcare, Conventional and Alternatives. And it goes into these kinds of topics, right? What are the labs that are run? What are preliminary labs? It doesn't matter because the reason why I titled it that is because when you get into the alternative healthcare space, right? A lot of people, when they switch from conventional, suddenly it's this attitude as if now everything is going to be resolved. I'm in the right hands. I'm safe. And the truth is that every provider has their edges. You don't know what you're getting. Chances are you probably haven't cultivated the ability to discern, the difference between, can this person actually help me or not? Because you're still in the process probably of figuring out what's going on. It might come as a surprise to people too, that many times in the alternative healthcare space, we end up seeing people getting stuck in symptom management still.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because people think, well, just because this is a natural approach and now I'm taking herb and not a pharmaceutical, you still haven't figured out what's going on. What's the root cause of that?
You're still trying to mask or at least subside whatever relief you might need from the supplement. Even though it might be natural, there's still something that you're putting into your body, you're hoping. And I hate, we've said before on this podcast, we have become the society, a pill for an ill. But even in the supplemental world, it seems to kind of be going that way because, and we're not talking the basics, obviously, vitamin D, magnesium, all those things are super crucial. You need to have them. But the more obscure ones that you might see, that'll be like, oh, let's make your hair grow. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's like, hang on just a second. You have to understand the supplement business is a multi-billion-dollar industry as well. And so you have to, again, do your research and know what is the root cause? What is it we're trying to solve?
I agree. And the one caveat I'll add, though, is vitamin D, and so I think that there might be some juicy tidbits for your listeners, because I go into this actually in my free training. And I will say that in this training, this is not fluff. This training is me saying, I've worked one-on-one with people for so many years, and I don't want you to have to spend money working with me. I'm only one person. I want to create content that maybe you cannot waste years or thousands of dollars. Like, here's what you should know about these baseline labs that are run in conventional medicine, in alternative medicine as well. This is what is not known actually by many providers. It doesn't matter. Even I'll say this, functional medicine practitioners, doctors, naturopathic doctors, a lot of the stuff in this training, they're not even aware of yet. And there's real opportunities early on to actually find out that something might be off, and they're wasted opportunities right now. So this empowers people also to not just to self-advocate and take their health into their own hands, but they can work better with their providers. Because if you have the right provider, you present them with information.
Yes.
They're going to be interested.
Absolutely. And they're going to be excited that you're actually engaged in your own care.
And then they're going to remember, wow, this is the person who opened my eyes to this. If they have an ego, you're probably with the wrong
Yeah, you're going to want to find another doctor.
Yeah. So that's also a great way too to weed out like who's not working, who's open-minded, who's going to take what you're saying seriously, who's not dismissive. But, I'll say for me, because I want to get into this vitamin D thing for you, because it relates to these root causes as well. But for me, my issues ultimately boiled down to mold. I was living in a toxic environment without realizing it for multiple years.
Wow.
And there's a huge level of misinformation in that space, because you can have, for example, a mold allergy. That's not what I'm talking about. You can have also mold colonization, where it could be your own, it's called endogenous, from within, like Candida fungus grows inside you and there's overgrowth. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. There could be also mold from outside that then colonizes. That's something that happens, and that should be taken seriously. But when we say mold illness, it's biotoxin illness. That's the mycotoxin. That's a non-living like byproduct of mold. Not all varieties, but the ones that show up in your house a lot of the time, they're gonna produce that. Water damage obviously triggers it. And it's fascinating because this is one of my areas of specialty, and I can't tell you how many times I've come across doctors who say that they are mold specialists, and yet their only approach is antifungals, which means you're killing mold, but you can't kill a mycotoxin. And then the other issue also is that if they are aware that the mycotoxin is the issue, they dive right into the treatment aspect of it, where actually securing your home is the first non-negotiable step. If they're not aware of it, or they don't quite know how to do it properly. And then people are thinking, I have to spend $50,000 on home remediation, which you don't always, in order to fix my home. And so there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of content that I will also be putting out about that. I cover this in this free training as well. But, mold, you're going to have certain calibrations, most likely. There's about a quarter of the population that's susceptible. But over time also, think about this. If we're already born into a world where there's a bunch of heavy metal toxicity, right? And there's all these other issues, there's, again, really unnatural electromagnetic frequencies as well that probably imbalance a lot of things.
Sure.
When we've got metals in our bodies, when, mold as a biological creature doesn't like the EMFs either, right? So there's so many things that can compound the issues, add to that stress, add to that trauma. There's a phrase in a lot of functional medicine circles, which is, which came first, the toxin, the trauma, or the trigger?
Oh,
isn't that fabulous? But my answer to that question is always, does it matter?
Right.
Because you still have to address them all.
Exactly.
You're never going to recover if your limbic system, that nervous system, is still looping, because even if you didn't have, I hear this is also a very progressive idea in the modern medicine space, that if you have trauma, that's why you get sick. And I won't disagree that creates a very weak link. There's an idea in traditional Chinese medicine that it's your Shen layer. Everything manifests there first before it manifests physically. However, an exposure to a toxin in and of itself, let's say you're living in a home and those levels are so big, that's traumatic in and of itself.
Sure.
So I find that there are people, and I've spoken with a lot of somatic therapy practitioners, and they've, people have referred clients to me, or they've worked with me themselves. And they said, I would have these clients that I'd work with for years. And I was like, you're supposed to be getting better now, and I don't understand why. And then they'd go, since working with you, since talking to you, I now understand that might be what's going on, that they're just like, maybe they're being poisoned in their homes. Maybe they have heavy metal toxicity, and that's just creating this landscape, right?
Wow.
So these layers of, health is complicated. And I want to pause just with the, little mention you made to the listeners today, that I don't mean to overwhelm you or scare you with this.
Of course.
But this is very empowering, because if you keep focusing on just the food aspect, if you keep going to the same practitioner, and you've now spent years, you spent thousands of dollars, maybe you've even experienced certain symptoms, going away, but yet other things are still there, or you just feel agitated all the time and you're just attributing it, let's say, to stress in your life. It's possible, but it's also really possible that, the question I always say is, what really makes you you?
You are listening to the 100th episode of Everything's Messy. I am Casey. I am the host's baby sister. I am what you call the best of the brood, if you know what I'm saying. All y'all out there who are listening who have siblings, you know exactly what I'm saying. In all seriousness, Sarah, I am just so proud of you. You are bringing much needed light into the struggles we all face. Without hiding the mess, you don't substitute reality for fluff, and you actively engage on topics that others shy away from. You certainly are not afraid to rip up the marketed narratives that we hear all the live long day, and you are so vulnerable and raw and real in sharing your experiences and your journey thus far into real life and real health. You definitely share real health that is not prescribed by the mainstream health industry, which I'm so grateful that you're talking about this and engaging with others and sharing just everything that you've experienced and know, and that hopefully those out there who are listening that got a little bit of common sense, they'll take you up on it, and start challenging things and start doing their own research and just really taking control of their own health, and really going after it. So to those who are out there who are listening, you are in the right place. Stick with my big sissy. She's going to school you and challenge you to think about what real health even means and how to practically apply things to your own mess. And I just want to encourage everyone, don't be afraid of the mess. Embracing the mess is the first step in moving forward. Everyone there listening, I just so encourage you to seek after God. Seek Jesus Christ, who is the only one who can clean up your spiritual mess.
but he's also more than willing to clean up everything else in the natural. So invite him into your mess. And keep listening to Everything is Messy. It's not a coincidence that you're listening to this right now. Accept the invitation to adventure, renewal, and a change in your perspective on things.
And this does it for our 100th episode of Everything's Messy podcast. Big thank you and heartfelt shout out to all of you that showed me the support and love and sent your audios and your videos and everything that you support with me along with my journey. Here's to another 100 episodes. I hope everybody out there enjoyed this. There were so many clips I wanted to use, just would have taken forever. I mean, after all, there is 100 episodes. Go back and listen to them. A few that pop out, Aaron Ertstick, Dr. Billstrom, Haywood. There's just so many out there. Like I said, there is 100. So here's to another 100. Thank you again to all of the love and support that I received. I couldn't do this without you. Keep it messy.
Hey, you're listening to Everything's Messy podcast, 100 episode. Almost 2 full years. Way to go. Keep it up.
Thanks for listening to Everything's Messy podcast. If you made it this far, give yourself a gold star or at least a nap. Honestly, if you showed up today and you were listening, you've already crushed it. I'm so grateful for you listening. If anything hit home, share it, tag me, write it on a sticky note. I don't care. Just don't keep all of this messy goodness to yourself. You can find me on Instagram at Everything's Messy Wellness or over at my website, everythingsmessywellness.com, where I've got resources, coaching, and probably a new rant about blood sugar or something that's just nonsense. It's all waiting for you. Check out my YouTube channel. I've got all of my podcast episodes up there. And I'm on X at Everything's Mess. Or if you just want to send me an email, Sarah at everythingsmessywellness.com. Look, until next time, hydrate, take no crap, and as always, keep it messy.